Good Monday evening, everyone, and welcome to Monday Night Safety Stop. Uh, for some reason, I lost my background picture behind us, so don't know what's going on there. What's going on, JoJo?
Oh, not too much. I know it took you a couple minutes to get on here, it seemed like.
Well, for some reason, my computer is taken after your computer and has gotten slow.
Well, I don't know what's up with mine 'cause it keeps going dingy ding again.
Yeah, I mean and I don't know if it's because I'm running, the dual stream, one to Facebook, one to YouTube, or what, but
Oh,
it's just like lagging, and so I tried to get the picture switched, but it didn't work. So,
I'm looking at myself on here and I look like a ghost. I was like, where'd my tan go?
well, it's because the season hasn't started yet. You haven't been out in the sun. It's been a couple of months since you've been to Belize.
Yeah, so I don't know why. I got this place lit up, but yet I still look like I have absolutely no tan going on. And I was
Well,
out in the sun all weekend.
it is what it is. But you was also in a dry suit this weekend, so well, partially dry suit.
Yeah, we had a little leakage, but nothing to ruin a dive over.
Oh yeah. So let's just do a real quick update on the condition of the park. Everything has went wonderfully. The water is still high, but we are down about 4 inches from the peak last Sunday. So we've dropped about 4 inches in a week. So hopefully, if all goes well, probably about another 3 weeks, and it should be down to normal. But a lot of work went on this weekend. We made sure all the sites were safe, ran a few new navigation lines, and reattached some new surface markers.
Yeah.
So, JoJo, tell, and if people don't believe how bad the visibility is, JoJo, tell them.
Oh, surface was nil. We knew that going in. Literally, we're out there. You normally would know where you're dropping down on when you go out there. Oh, I'm here. If I drop down here, I'm by the double decker platform. Well, when you got no surface markers because they've all broken off, and you can't see anything in the water, you kind of just gotta guess.
So it was really funny because I think you guys were putting the surface marker on the tube, the
The
horizontal
tube, yeah.
tube, and we were sitting on the dock watching this unfold, and this even the most experienced park staff uh, was having issues. Brian was able to, pretty much get close, but watching you guys take that barrel over to
Yeah,
that was a we were laughing at you, Joe.
we started close. Uh, Brandon started going the wrong way, and then when I got up to him, I was like, "Hey, you need to turn around." I went over to the ledge and was heading that way, and then looked around. He's nowhere to be now.
Oh yeah,
And I was like, "Lost you." Now I'm looking for him. So that was a lot of the back and forth.
yeah. And
Luckily, I
that's
was easy to spot. I had a barrel strapped to me.
yeah. So, and the reason I brought that up is because tonight we're going to talk about navigation. If you're familiar with the place, that's great. But when you have like low visibility conditions, I mean, even natural navigation is hard, even for the most experienced divers.
Yeah, if I didn't see the pile of rocks and realize what side the ledge was on, I would have not known where I was at all.
Oh yeah,
And
you
that's
know,
how I established myself there.
yeah.
But
So
again, I literally had to be right on the ledge, touching it to be able to see it.
yeah. Well, and that's one thing, especially if you're at new dive sites or sites that you haven't dove a lot on. I mean, you rely a whole lot on natural navigation, being able to see things and going with the flow of the currents or whatnot if you're in the ocean, um, or even like at the park, the navigation lines. And the problem is when you can't see those navigation lines, it's a shot in the dark. I mean,
It is, especially if you drop down somewhere and you have no idea what you're dropping on.
yeah,
First barrel we did was at the double decker platform, and like, okay, we think it's here, so we all
hmm
drop down. I drop right smack on top of the uh, platform itself, top platform.
yeah,
I get under the water, poof, I hit the dang thing. Um, there was no saying it; it was just there. Everybody else kind of fell around and was like, "Oh wait, there's the van. Now I know where I am." Or I fell on this platform. You're around it and was lucky enough to hit something that everybody got in the same spot and able to work.
yeah. Well, and like in that instance, where you're familiar with the location of the different attractions, you pretty much can kind of guess, from which way to go to the next one, like the yacht, to go over to the RV, you can kind of work around that. But when you've got low visibility, it's really hard to be able to navigate, which is where your compass comes in handy. And I know a lot of people's like, oh, I don't need a compass, whatever, But when you hit a low visibility, you can be swimming in the teetotal opposite direction. The compass is going to come in handy, And not only that, you know, a lot of places that you do shore dives, we're fixing to head to Bonaire here in a year.
I use
There's
my
not a
compass
dive
a lot.
master, huh?
I'll use my compass a lot there.
Oh yeah. Well, whenever we go there, you don't have a experienced dive master, a local that's going to be going out with you and showing you the different things and whatnot. I mean, you pretty much, got to be able to navigate. Luckily, it's pretty easy to do, especially like in Bonaire. As long as you keep the reef on one side, right side or left side, depending on which way the current's going, you can navigate out and then navigate back. But, what happens if current kicks up when you're coming back? It can overshoot you.
Oh yeah, and yeah, you had planned for that. Like we usually will swim out, and I'll get a reciprocal course back
Mm,
to land. So
yeah.
whatever that is out when we're out there, might be 180 degrees or something.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be, a fancy compass. A lot of them are analog on consoles. Some of them are even built into computers nowadays. The Tarek has it. The Peregrine now has it. The Perdix has it. All the digital compasses built in, so it makes it where you don't have to carry that analog. Me personally, I like the analog.
Yeah, if you flip over on like the way I got it set up, you flip over to the compass, it pretty much takes up the whole screen. So
Yeah.
you get to look at something else, and you're flopping through screens, and that gets annoying.
Oh yeah.
Easy,
But
easy way to get lost is flipping through screens and not paying attention to where you're going.
true, true, and especially if you've got multiple things going on while you're underwater. If you're trying to take pictures of different marine life or whatnot, you're trying to keep an eye on your gas. You're trying to keep an eye on your depth. You're trying to keep an eye on your heading. It can be a daunting task, especially if you're new. And that's one reason why there's navigation skills in open water. And let me take a second real quick. I just looked down my comments are doing the same thing that they were a couple of weeks ago. They're not updating. So I just looked and I'm like, we don't have any comments yet. So I refreshed. Looks like Todd has said hi, kids. So good evening, Todd. Mr. Steve Stormer got to come in, and he actually got New news. Sorry, I can't. I'm excited about this. Steve actually got the first. Well, actually, technically, it was the first real fill off our new continuous blending nitrox. So that is a cool new feature. I'm just going to throw that out there. No more partial pressure blending for us. It is now continuous mix, and hopefully after this next weekend, it will be banked 32. I'm so excited. But anyway, got off track. Emily's in here. Good evening. Steve says it's real bad when you can't see JoJo underwater.
Yeah, and I'm sporting a blue and red dry suit. You know what I mean? And I look like a blimp, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, most definitely. And I'm also showing, if you are watching us on YouTube, guys, you can use the chat feature and join in on the chat. We're reading off of the Facebook feed right now, but if you want to engage with us and ask questions or make comments, please use the chat feature. And while you're there, go ahead and hit a subscribe button for us, and that way you can get notifications whenever we come on. Monday nights at 8 o'clock. So anyway, but yeah, you can't see JoJo in, that's bad.
Yeah, and it was. You had to be right on somebody to see him. If you stay on the bottom, it was about arm's length is all you had. It was pretty good. Now, my understanding, if you got down about, well, right now about 100 feet, because the water was so deep, yeah, I think that opened up to about 8 feet.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I think from what I understood, if you got below 40, it opened up a little bit. But you also have to think, with rain and everything, I mean, the top is going to be bad, especially with this historic flooding that we had, in this area. It's going to be murky for, couple, 3 weeks. And probably until it goes back down.
But if you want to practice some navigation skills with that compass and stuff, low viz, go for it.
Oh yeah. Well, and it never hurts to practice your navigation. I mean, like I said a while ago, we as divers are used to natural navigation. Whether we're following a dive guide on a Caribbean vacation, or we're diving at the park and you look at the map, see where you're planning out your dive, and then you follow the map around, natural navigation. But when you take natural navigation out of the equation, now you're just wandering around aimlessly unless you come across the navigation line. Hey, I wonder where this goes, and you start following it. Then you don't know where you're coming into.
Believe it or not, there's enough dead space still in the shallow area that you can just swim in circles and not find it.
Oh, you could. Oh yeah, and like I said, even the most experienced divers, you can get turned around so easy and not realize it. That's one of the things that I hear frequently is when divers come up. Oh, I thought we was way over here, but we're way over here. So unless you have, the site, where everything's at, and you're able to, when you come across, exactly where you're at. It's hard, and especially low visibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we had a good time. Got drug around in the boat on scooters.
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah.
One experience: be drug behind a boat so you get back and forth pretty quickly.
Well, that's what happens when you don't have a scooter.
Yeah, I'll get drugged behind the boat.
And don't worry, it was a trolling motor, so no.
Yeah. There was this big metal prop. They put my face right beside it. No.
Oh yeah.
You could probably stop that thing with your fingertips.
So JoJo, when you're doing natural navigation, let's just say, like in Bonaire, I think I touched on this just a second ago. depending on which way the current is coming from, when do we start our dive, or which way do we start our dive?
Into the current. Swimming up
Into
the
the
current.
current. So depending on which way, the easiest way to navigate is keep the reef on one side or the other. If you're swimming into the current, then you're going to start off on whichever way the current's going, start the reef on whichever side. And then when you do your reciprocal and you come back, it's real easy. You just switch sides. That's all you do. You know,
If there's a
makes
nice
it.
current, all you gotta do is quit swimming.
Oh yeah, just quit swimming. Yeah, but at least if you switch sides like that, you may be able to naturally navigate. Oh wait, I remember passing this. Oh wait, I remember passing this. I don't remember this. Let's surface. Kind of
Yeah.
thing. And see about where you're at.
Like normally you might have a surface buoy tied off. There's a lot of those in Bon Air.
Yeah.
So you start your dive there, and you kind of take a mental note. Okay, this is tied off at 25 feet of water. So if I'm coming back, I stay in roughly 25 feet of water. I should run right into it.
Yes.
Thus, now I need to pull out the compass and get back to shore.
And if the visibility's
Only
good.
did, yeah. White Slave, we didn't have a surface marker.
Mm-hmm.
So we looked, of course, the sand went out. Big surface went out. Then the coral started at about 25 feet of water. I took uh, my defog. I had it clipped to my BC,
Mm-hmm.
stuck it down in the sand, and you can see it and the little beanie just swaying in the water. And that was my marker when I came back. It's in 25 feet of water. When I come back, this is what I'm looking for. We found it. Was able to hit right back to shore.
Yeah.
Right back out where we went in. So, yeah, little stuff. And you can do the same thing with a lift bag or something.
Mm-hmm.
You need a
What?
something to mark your area.
Yeah, and something else too, especially if you're doing shore diving like that. Like Joe said, go ahead and launch a marker, at your surface, spot where you're wanting to come up. But also, you have to think, what if the current kicks up? It may be fine, not very big or not a very big current or hard current, but at any time that can kick up, and
Yeah,
so when you turn around, you could actually pass if you're not watching where your marker is and you're not at that depth.
yeah. Typically, when I come back, you always want to be shallower, so
Yeah.
I'll stick at about 30, 25, 30 feet, and that's about where I'll drift or swim back at that depth.
Yeah.
That way, I run right into it.
Yep.
I mean, that's a game plan anyway.
Doesn't always work out that way, but at least if you have your compass navigation, you can actually navigate a little bit easier if you miss your mark. I should have seen my upline. Where's it at? And you can take a quick heading and be able to find your way on in.
Yeah, and of course, there's nothing wrong with turtling either.
No,
Pop your head up, see where you're at.
just remember your 3-minute safety stop. Don't blow that.
Remember your safety stop. Make sure you're looking up. Boats are a big thing. So,
Oh yeah. Well, and I'm just going to tell this story. I think you was on the trip with us the first time we done Key Largo,
yeah,
or mate, what
second.
second one? Okay, so you wasn't on the
We
first
we had a boat issue on that one too. So
one. Was that when we couldn't find a boat to get on?
yeah, when we heard the boat fire up and leave. Yeah,
Yeah. So
you
the
know,
first time we actually dove with John Pennycamp Park, um, we had rented a boat, and said boat was not what was offered or advertised, and if we hadn't had scuba gear, we probably would have been in deep trouble because we thought the thing was going to sink. I mean, literally. I mean, gear and all on the boat. We thought the thing was going to sink. And anyway, we decided after that first day, this ain't happening. We're taking this thing back. But we ended up diving with Penny Camp State Park and went out and done the not the Dwayne. Come on, JoJo. I can't think of it.
Eagle
Huh? Spiegel.
Grove?
Yeah, so we done the Spiegel Grove, and when we dropped down, visibility was bad, and I'm not even kidding. There wasn't much of a current, but it was visibility was like literally 10 foot. I mean, it was just you couldn't see side to side. So just knowing the way the boat was laid out, Jeff was my dive buddy. So here we go. We went down on the stern and we were going to work our way up to the bow and then, come up. So I dropped down into the hold, which was, a big open area, or at least I thought it was. And I'm sitting here kicking. I'm like, I know I've got to be getting close to to the end of this thing. And the visibility was bad. I thought I seen the sides. No, it wasn't. I had dropped off the side of the boat instead of dropping in the boat and was swimming away from the boat. And Jeff just let me do it. He's like, I didn't know where you was going. I wasn't going to follow you. I'm like, really, dude? So after about 100 yards, I'm like, this ain't right. I turn around. I'm like, where's Jeff? I don't know where he's at. And, I'm like, well, what do we do in this situation? I'm at 90 feet. We do our we surface 15 foot, 3 to 5 minute safety stop. When I pop my head up, I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. That was the longest 100-yard surface swim I've ever done. It was just like, I was mad. I was cussing myself. It's like, all the way back. And I finally get back. Jeff's like, where were you going? I'm like, why did you let me do that? He's like, I didn't know where you was going. I'm like, dude, really? So yeah, navigation. That was my, eye opener. Like, yeah, no, this ain't happening again. But that's
You gotta tie off lines so you don't get lost again.
yeah. Looks like Frank has joined us about 9 minutes ago. I apologize. We are not getting my comments are not auto-populating, so I'm having to refresh them. But anyway, Frank waved at us about 9 minutes ago. Trista is on here. Good evening to you. Sounds like most of my diving, braille, arm's length. Yeah, sign me up for volunteering. Yeah, I mean, it makes great experience if you can handle no viz situation or limited viz situations.
Yeah, it was
looks
fun
like
while we did it. We all had fun doing it.
yeah, and it looks like CJ Pierce is in here. Good evening, sir. Yeah, so that's just one of the things that it's a good skill to practice. Doesn't matter if you can see or you can't see. It's always good to practice your skills, and especially your navigation skills, because if you're going someplace that you're not familiar with and you don't have a dive master, dive guide, you're having to lead, do the dive on your own with your dive buddy. Depends on if you've been diving with your dive buddy for a long time, or it may be somebody you've only got 5 or 6 dives with. Always have, practice them skills.
I'm pretty sure we can find a couple blind folks. That's always fun.
Oh,
Practice
goodness.
your navigation skills and put on one of those blindfold masks.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I know like CJ and them, they do technical diving, and, that's one thing, cavern and cave. I mean, damn bug. You got to be able to function in silt out conditions. I mean, because especially when you're doing overhead environment like that, you can stir that up real quick. Shipwrecks, whatnot. I mean, one fin kick, and I mean, you just took 20 foot 30-foot visibility and turned it into 2.
Yeah, yeah, he can. Yeah, not just it's say wrecks too. They're all rusty and crack falls everywhere, and you can go from you can see the other side of the room to can't see anything very quickly.
Oh, exactly. And that too right there is another reason why you don't penetrate into overhead environments unless you're properly certified and trained to do so. But that's a completely different set of navigation. I mean, especially in shipwrecks because everything's metal. It's going to affect or it may affect your compass. So a lot of technical divers who do wrecks and caves, that's the reason they use lines and cookies and all that. But, if you're not trained or certified to do that, you're not going to know.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah, I'm not advanced K or rec, but my basic training allows me to go in as long as I have two exit points and a tie off. So,
yeah, yeah,
uh,
and it all falls back, with not just navigation, but, you got to be comfortable. If you're comfortable in your skills, then, there's less chance of stuff happening. But, practice skills. I mean, I always practice skills when I'm in the water. It may be something simple. I switch to my octo just to be able to do it. Or if I'm full face, I may go ahead and I may ditch my full face, switch to my backup just to practice it. There's nothing wrong with that because it helps keep your skills sharp in the event something happens.
most of the time, people won't even know you're practicing it either.
Oh yeah. Well, unless you say, hey, we're going to drop down on the platform. I want to practice this set of skills. I want to do this, this, this. And dive buddies will usually, okay, yeah, no problem. Go down and hang out with you while you do it. For me, if I'm going out just doing a stroll dive, then I'll practice something just to
Yeah,
help keep the skills up.
I mean, heck, you seen my to get my gear serviced like everybody should. But now I'm threading on all my secondaries starting to come a little unwound, so it's starting to flow a little bit. Uh, Instead of wasting that, I just breathed off my secondary.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I just seen CJ posted, especially Frank Brown, so I know Frank's going to get tagged in that, and yeah, so hopefully he watches. Oh goodness, fun times, fun times. But again, like Joe said, and I haven't touched on that tonight, but that is something. Remember, if you haven't had your equipment serviced, get it serviced. Make sure it's ready to go for the dive season because like JoJo this weekend, he had an issue with his inflator, which you do the air
I'm in
tube.
there too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know what it is. It's been a problem since I've had it. One of the They have a little bolt, a little nut on there so you can adjust it. And
Mm-hmm.
over time, it works its way loose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the nylon inside of it has kind of gotten worn, but in essence, it comes loose. You have to tighten it down a
Yeah. Well,
little bit.
and
It's
it
time for me to get in there and go on and throw it away and put a new one in. So
well, and that's something too, especially if you take your gear out, checking it out. Maybe you're getting ready to go on a trip or something. It could be a big trip. You could be heading to the Red Sea or something, taking your gear. It's always a good idea to get it out, test it out. Make sure everything's working. Uh, now, did you take that with you to Belize?
yes,
So was it doing it down there?
it started down
Started down
there.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then as you use it more and more, it progressively gets worse
Yeah.
until you can't use it no more.
Well, and in the event of an emergency, that's kind of an important piece of equipment.
Yeah, I know it's functional. It just was letting air out,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
which was it's fail safe is to let air out. So
Let's see. Frank Winstead says we used lines in Roatan doing the shipwreck class. It was a fun class. Love shipwrecks. Well, I'm right there with him because I love wrecks, but I also like reefs. I like being able to find the little critters, and of course, natural navigation.
yeah, and swim throughs are fun too.
Oh yeah,
Just the swim-throughs in Roatan.
plenty of them. And there's only one way to navigate those. You go in
Yeah,
one way, you turn around, you come back out.
pretty much.
Oh, but yeah, like I said, guys, next time you get in the water, if it's just for fun, whatnot, think of some of your open water skills. If it's, been a couple of years since you went through class, I mean, if you don't practice your skills, they're just going to kind of fall to the wayside. Yeah, you'll still know how to do stuff. It may take you a little bit longer, but
Yeah,
always practice.
second nature at that point. You're trying to think about it.
Hmm.
Nothing wrong with that. Just
Oh no. Well, again, like I said, one of the skills for an open water is navigation. You got to be able to navigate. Do a reciprocal, come back. You know.
we do got a nice lighthouse course out there too. We'll
Oh
practice
yeah, yeah, and
now,
that makes great for a compass.
we might have to readjust the plate on the double decker platform to see if it realigns.
Yeah, and I don't know. We oh no, we haven't talked about that, have we? Because we
No,
we
we
didn't
did
do the
not.
survey dive until Tuesday, last
Uh-huh.
Tuesday.
Yeah,
So
double
literally,
decker kind of got messed up.
yeah. So literally, you guys who have been to the park, the big open water double decker training platform that we have. Um, the water come up high enough that it actually lifted one side of that. It was up off the bottom like 2 feet. I mean, if you had side mount and a scooter, you could scooter underneath it. No problem. So that was one of the safety concerns. The reason why we didn't open this past weekend when we normally was supposed to was just because of those safety concerns, and of course, water being up all the way in Pavilion. I think it made it to 12. It's down to 9 now, so we're slowly getting it back. But yeah, I mean, safety concerns, visibility concerns, stuff like that. Just navigating was a challenge. You know, wasn't it, Joe?
It was a problem. Uh, unless you knew exactly where you were and where you're going, you would got turned around very easily.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, again, it's one of those things. Yeah, any low visibility situation, it doesn't matter where you're at. It's going to make navigating even harder. So,
Let's see. Scott had his BC in regulator service. I guess he left it somewhere for the mices to find.
let's see. Well,
That's a
there's some of those little critters running around that really like to chew on things. And we actually, fun fact, we actually found one in an old cylinder,
no.
one that we had the valve off of. The cylinder's no good. It's old 6351 alloy. So, we can't do anything with it. So, it was left over the wintertime. We had the valve out of it. And, yeah, Emily ended up, she's like, something smells dead over here. Something smells dead. And we looked around, could not find anything. She's like, I think it's coming from this tank. Like, what? Stuck a light down in there, and sure enough, one of the little critters had gotten down in there and couldn't get out. It's like, good thing that's a bad tank. But yeah, I mean, I've seen people bring equipment in. Had a guy several years ago brought a dry suit in, and the mice had had a field day with his dry suit. This thing looked like Swiss cheese. I mean, it's like, hey, can you fix this? Well, we'll take a look at it. And when we rolled it out and looked at it, it's like, yeah, no, there's no, this one's done. That thing had more holes in it. I think you could have took it out in the field, set it up, shot it with bird shot, and it probably wouldn't have had as many holes. I mean, it was just, this thing was, it was eaten all up. And I think the guy told me he hadn't had it very long, or it didn't have many dives on it. And so it was kind of definitely sickening for him. But
Oh
yeah, it was just like, dude, oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, yeah. Mouse traps, lots of.
So yeah, you really have to be careful whenever you put your equipment up for the winter time. Um, I keep mine in my travel bag. It's zipped up. Critters can't get into it. It's a hard
Yeah, I
case.
typically keep mine in my bags or in my totes.
Yeah, and really, totes are really a good idea because they're not going to get into those either, especially if you're storing in like a closet or maybe out in the garage on a shelf. Um, if it's in a duffel bag or something like that, they can get into it.
Yeah, they can. I haven't had them break into my boat bag. I'm pretty sure they could chew through it, but I haven't had them do that. Or
Yeah.
the totes. Now they've gotten into everything else that I've stored out there.
Oh yeah. Well, and again, that's a reason why we really hit the emphasis: get your equipment out and get it serviced, because you find things like that before the season hits. If you wait until, hey, I'm getting ready to go diving, and you're throwing your stuff in the vehicle to go dive, when you get to the dive site, if that's the first time you pulled your equipment out, mm, yeah, you need to check everything first. Because again, like the dry suit, like Scott's hose, you know, things can happen. And
Yeah,
it's my luck it would.
yeah, me too. I'm always finding stuff broken.
Oh yeah. Well, it's one of those things that when not to dive. When you pull your equipment out and something breaks, and then something else happens, and then something else happens. Usually, if that third thing, something's telling me I don't need to go underwater today. Because it just keeps kind of compiling and compiling, and it's just like, do I really want to tempt fate? Oh goodness. Let's see. All right. I was refreshing my comments, making sure it didn't have any. Emily posted skull and crossbones for I'm assuming the mouse.
Yeah, oh yeah, Emily lost her dress suit hood. She's quite disappointed in that. I think
Yeah.
she had plans to go in this weekend, but couldn't because she couldn't find her hood.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if Steve's on here or not, but I'm going to tell one on Steve. And just Steve's a great guy. If you've never met him, and he's a retired
He
baker.
got lucky, is what he
And
got.
he got super lucky this weekend on Saturday, because when he left his hood and his gloves on top of his car. And I don't know, he had been gone 10, 15 minutes. He calls me and says, "Hey, I think I lost my hood and gloves. They were on top of the car. Can you run up the hill and see if they fell off?" So here I go. I go up the hill, and I'm looking, seeing if I see them. I make it all the way up to the main highway. And just as I pull up, I see a glove out in the middle of the highway. And here comes Steve pulling in. He found one glove and one hood. And so, luckily enough, when we got ready to go to dinner, I actually seen the second glove on the bridge of the interstate. And so, I was able to get it before I got on the on ramp for the interstate. But that was lucky right there.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Hoods and gloves aren't cheap either.
Do what?
So hoods and gloves aren't cheap either.
Oh, well, this time of year, hoods and gloves are a necessary evil, because,
Yeah.
when I think the temperature sensor is showing like 60 right now on the surface, or at
Is it
10
that
foot.
warm? I didn't feel that warm.
So, well, you know, it was a little bit cooler Saturday outside temperature, so didn't feel too bad in the sunlight, but you get in the shade, it was a little chilly.
I know I upgraded my thermos. I went from sweats to my 400 milligrams on my second dive. I was like, cold.
But luckily, and that kind of brings me back to the navigation topic. Whenever you guys, of course, if you haven't seen pictures of the park, look on our main Facebook page. We posted with the flooding and everything. So we had to use the dock because everything else was pretty much in the water. And but JoJo, if you did not have a scooter to do a surface swim and you'd have tried to drop down, it would have been super hard to get out there.
No, you would have been on a compass and had to use a compass to
Have to.
find the wall. And
Yeah.
then you'd be second guessing yourself, really, if you're even going the right way the whole time, because it'd feel like forever to get when you get over
Yeah. Well, even in, clear conditions. And, most people who have dove at the park have seen it, when it's super clear, it's great. And some people have seen it when it's like it is now. But even when it's super clear, you get out over the wall where you have no visual reference, everything is just blue.
there.
So, again, no natural navigation there. You have to rely on your compass, especially if you're going to transit like from the shallow area over to the south side
Yeah.
and hit that road. If you're going to do it at 20, 30 foot, once you get over that wall, you're not going to have any kind of visual reference to let you know you're going going the right direction. You
Yeah.
could be kicking in circles.
Yeah, it's done that one even with a compass, and it seemed like I should be there by now and pop up and well, I'm a few degrees off on my compass.
or you
Redo it. Let's do it
or
again.
you end up where like, wait a minute, I don't remember this being here. It's not supposed to be here, and then you pop up. Oh wait, I'm not here. I'm
Yeah.
there. Oh goodness. Well, Joe, it has been another fast show. It's hard to believe we're about 10 minutes till right now, but that's what it's all about. Sit here and chit chat. And one thing that I love is being able to do this and communicate. Talk the way we do here, answering questions and stuff. I mean, it's to me it makes Monday nights go fast because now I get to when I get off of the show, I get to go to bed. you
We're
know.
one day closer to the weekend and can go diving again.
Uh, well, and I'll have to tell on myself. So my day started out unloading a compressor and 16 storage bottles off of a trailer so that we could go get one of the main props for Women's Dive Day this year because
So
I needed
was
a
it leg
trailer
day or
for it.
arm day?
Huh?
So was it leg day or arm?
It was everything day today. It really was. It was really everything. No water time though. That was the only bad
Or
part about it. There was no water time.
go get the pirate ship?
So yes, it is actually setting. It's actually setting on the trailer out in front of my house right now. So I'm just waiting to see what the neighbors are saying. Because I don't have any like young kids. So here's this, big pirate ship playset, for kids that we have gotten for Women's Dive Day because the theme this year is, pirates. Um, Yo ho ho and a diving we will go or something like that. I haven't got the official, but
Can I
yeah,
come over to your house with my little potato gun and shoot it out the windows?
yeah, exactly. But so not only and that's the reason why I had to unload a small compressor and 16 storage bottles because I needed the trailer for this big pirate ship. So I went ahead and we went down and to the park and got it unloaded. And so I've been moving heavy stuff all day. Half of it was scuba equipment. Oh goodness.
Oh yes, Taylor, or I don't know. I guess it's Taylor or Jordan on here. I don't know.
Oh, Jordan.
One of the two are on here. Oh,
Jordan.
Jordan. They did go and retrieve the equipment table from the other side of the quarry. That was very fun to watch as we all sat in the water waiting for them to come help us.
So, funny fact: the table. You guys who have been to the park, especially last year, I think that was the first year for it. We had the big bench out by the helicopter. Where you could put weights and put your fins. Do your weight checks and all that. Well, with this unprecedented 4 foot rise in water, it decided to float, and it made it all the way back into the cove back by the office. So, of course, we don't use gasoline motors on the water there with the John boat. We use trolling motors. So it was all the little trolling motor wanted to pull that thing from way back in the corner all the way back over to the confined area. And of course, once we got it over there, we had to tie it off. But yes, we did get it retrieved. All the barrels that broke free, they have been retrieved and removed. I mean, really, we actually are ahead of schedule from where we thought we were going to be.
We knocked out quite a bit.
Oh yeah. Well, we were able to get in with Brian and Mike got in, or not Brian, Brandon and Mike got in on Tuesday and surveyed everything, and was able to give feedback. And then we were able to get in on Saturday and Sunday and actually work and get everything done that needed to be done. Now, we had originally planned to do the survey dives this weekend and start work on Sunday, do the surveys on Saturday, and then Sunday start the work. Then we'd have next weekend to finish it up and be ready to open the 26th. Luckily, everything went great. Only a couple of issues found. Those were corrected. And so technically we could open next weekend, but with it being Easter holiday, we're only going to be working on Saturday trying to get the nitrox bank all connected, which is another announcement. If you're just tuning in, the days of partial pressure blending at Pennyroyal are over. Look at JoJo. He's just like, yeah! Because JoJo is like the mix master when it comes to partial pressure. He's usually the one doing them. So, we had some successful trial runs with our continuous blending. And so Saturday we will be putting all the nitrox banks in line and getting ready to start filling them with 32%. So nitrox fills will be just like an air fill. It'll take literally the same amount of time. No time to have to, calculate and mix, and all that stuff that you have to do with partial pressure blending. It will be on tap. So 32%.
Partial pressure, fixing that's a job.
It is. And especially when you've got a lot of cylinders that come up, 5, 6, 7, it can take a while to blend that many bottles. So with 32 on tap, we can just hook them up, fill them, and then we'll be blending in the evening time. So we'll be refilling the bank bottles. So yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, we're really excited about it. I know JoJo's excited about it because when he first heard the idea, he's like, "Wait, what? I don't have to mix anymore?"
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't.
I am definitely looking forward to that operation.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Emily says, "Yo ho, diving we go." Sean Bowen is here. Good evening, Sean. It says, "Hey y'all, you still underwater?" Yeah, we're slowly coming out of the water, but it's slow.
Literally and physically.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you still got to get in the water to get over to dry pavilions, so you still have to kind of drive through the water, but it is slowly start going down. I noticed on the pavilions yesterday, you can see where the water level got to, and it's down about
Oh,
4 inches.
that reminds me. I was over at one where they had a pollen line at the high water mark. You should go over there and mark it with a marker or something. Right, 2025
Oh yeah, well, we're
on
going
it.
to. Yeah,
This is
we're
how
gonna.
high it got on this day.
Yep, yep. We're definitely gonna do that, but we got to be able to get out there first.
Well, I have my dry suit on walking through it, so I was able to get out
Oh
there.
yeah. Well, that's what happens when you have a dry suit. I need to get a new one. My poor dry
Well,
suit
Dylan
is
makes a great dry suit.
my dry suit's 16 years old, so it literally could get its driver's license. Yeah, it
Actually,
literally.
state of Kentucky, I think you can probably get it
Well, it could have got its permit. Well, they just switched it,
now.
but
Hey, and
regardless.
now for permits, I think now you might qualify for his driver's license.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Well, JoJo, it is 8:56. Do you have any final thoughts for us for this evening?
And we had a great time this weekend, even though I know we're closed. But again, we're there making things safe. Uh, I'm ready to get open and get going because that's what we're here for.
Yeah,
Other than that, I got a lot to look forward to. If
yeah.
you haven't checked out our trips, got a lot of trips already marked off on the calendar. Get on that. Other than that, no, I'm another quick Monday night.
Oh yeah. Yep, that definitely it is. And so actually going to close this tonight. I found some information out earlier, and of course, uh, this gentleman hasn't been to the quarry, but I worked with him in EMS. He was a staff member over at Mermet, and I worked with him for several years. He was a paramedic, just like I am, and I read this afternoon that he's passed away. So I just want to throw out, that our thoughts and prayers are with all of our friends over at Mermet on their loss and his family. Um, it was one thing that we always talked about when we was at shift. He would talk about Mermet. I talk about Pennyroyal, and he's like, "Yeah, I need to come and go diving," and he never did. But regardless, he was a great guy. His name was Barry Darnell, and very knowledgeable paramedic. And I didn't get to dive with him, but our thoughts and prayers are going out for them, for our friends over at Mermet, and for his family. So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there because that's anytime you lose a staff member, it's hard, and especially if you know them personally, and you know it's hard. Like I said, I worked several shifts with the gentleman and on the ambulance, and never got to dive with him, but I wished I had been able to, but just wanted to throw that out there that our thoughts and prayers with all of them through their hard time. And so, anyway, that was my closing statement for tonight. Appreciate you guys tuning in with us. Again, we are live over on YouTube as well. If you haven't had the opportunity, jump over. I posted our YouTube channel prior to the show. You can jump on it. Remember, we are going to it in the fall. So once we wrap up here in about 6 weeks here on our fall season, I guess you could say, or our spring season, whichever one. After our summer break, we're going to be doing YouTube because Facebook is only holding these episodes for 30 days. We have to download them if we want to save them. They're going to be saved on YouTube. So that's the reason we're making that transition. So be sure to click on that link, give us a subscribe, and just making sure everybody has a heads up before we start in the fall. And everybody's like wondering, well, where's the show at? And you can't find it on the group. That's why. So make sure you do that, and that way you can stay up to date with everything. We're simulcasting right now on both platforms, but like I said, in the fall 25, we will be solely on YouTube doing this on Monday nights. Anything else I forgot to add, JoJo?
Have a good night, man, and everybody else.
All right, guys. Well, we started the show back in 2020 as a way to be able to get together and talk about things, all things related to scuba, whether it's travel, equipment, training, whatnot. And here we are, still doing it 5 years later, and we're having a blast with it. We're thankful that you guys join us each and every Monday night. We're thankful for you, and if you're diving this weekend, we hope you have a fun, safe, and adventurous diving weekend. If you're not, we hope you have a fun, safe, and adventurous weekend. So we'll see you guys opening weekend, April 26th. Until then, or until next Monday night, I guess I should say that, shouldn't I, Joe? Yeah,
Yeah,
until
next Monday night we'll be
yeah,
here.
until next Monday night, we'll catch you guys right here on the Penny Royal Divers Group Monday Night Safety Stop.